it John Henry Winter Nolte?
That's it. All right, I'm going to go on air.
Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Friday Night Football here on your home for high school sports, your destination, PlayOnSports.com. We're bringing you a matchup that features the 5-1 St. Augustine Saints taking on the 1-5 Mira Mesa Marauders. Both teams find themselves in the Eastern League. This is the first matchup for St. Augustine, and first league matchup that is, and it is the second one for Mira Mesa, who lost to Lincoln last week, so they're 0-1 in league play. St. Augustine starts off with the ball, as you saw that kickoff. Andy Bishop coming to you live from Modern Day High School in Chula Vista, alongside John Henry Winter Nolte. And we're going to go with it on first down, a run up the middle going nowhere for the Saints.
And, Andy, we're getting started bright and early this evening.
A little early start here.
This kickoff's supposed to be 7 o'clock, but they wanted to get this game started so they can get out of here. The officials maybe ready to go on senior night here for St. Augustine, even though we're playing at Modern Days Field. It's the Saints' home field advantage, we'll call it, on senior night here for Saints.
The Saints going from left to right in the all-purple jerseys with the gold helmets. It's going to be quarterback JoJo Hudson starting this week. He's rolling right, as you can see on your video screen. He'll throw out of bounds, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 9. Let's set this matchup up a little more. As I said, this is the first league game for one of the best St. Augustine teams in their school's history. As you know, if you're a follower of San Diego County football, the Saints always sport a good team, and this year they have one of the best. They're typically at the Division III level, but they've dropped down to the Division IV level this year, and they find themselves 5-1, losing only once by 2 points to Otay Ranch 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, and they've really been able to rebound from that game very well. The St. Augustine Saints coming in last week and putting down quite a game, 45-0 against San Diego High School. JoJo Hudson, after taking a week off with a concussion, coming back 2 weeks ago against San Diego, and here again tonight. I'm sure his confidence is up. I'm sure he's ready to go.
So you had a penalty on that second down play. It was an intentional grounding call, and Hudson threw it to the near side. Loss of 5 and loss of down. He's going to throw it over the middle this time, too far for his intended receiver, Ryan Harris, down the seam. So that brings up a quick 4th down, a 3 and out. And that's the kind of start Mira Mesa needed. Mira Mesa struggling this season, although they have a majority of their roster in terms of starters coming back from the 2011 season. But they haven't gotten off to the best of starts.
Yeah, they need to really turn this season around. We saw last year this Marauders team put up some big points, some really talented guys on this team, and most of them returning. So it's been a little bit of a surprise this year seeing that 1-5 record early in this season.
But things going well for them to start things, as there is 10:56 on the clock. St. Augustine a quick 3 and out, and the Marauders are going to start with their possession in Saints territory at the Saints 48.
Marauders doing a good job there of stalling that Saints offense, who like we said, put up 45 points. I mean, if you can stop the Saints 3 and out, penalty or not, that's a good way to start this game for the Marauders, and maybe some momentum that they can build on as we get started here, as they get their first possession.
Quarterback Trey Lomax leading the Marauders. He'll come out with that spread formation that the Marauders love. And they're going to go with a handoff to Bingham right side. Finding room, penalty flag down. That'll go for 5 pending the penalty. .10:46 in the first quarter. If you're just joining us, a little bit of an early start to this game, St. Augustine taking on Mira Mesa. You've got a penalty, a holding call against Mira Mesa, so that'll bring the ball back into their own territory.
And we've seen 2 early penalties here, one on each side of the offensive side of the ball, one from Saints that pushed them back, and now another one here from the Marauders. Such a tough way to start your first drive of the game. Instead of a 1st and 10, all of a sudden you're looking at 1st and 20.
Lomax takes it, throwing on a slant. Beautiful toss to one of his favorite targets, Addison Morrow, and that gets back a good chunk of yardage.
Look for that connection a lot tonight. As you mentioned, one of his favorite receivers, Lomax to Morrow. That's not the only time we're going to call that play tonight.
And they've got a bunch of receivers, as you can probably notice. They go with that spread formation and get it out to a lot of options, but it is Morrow that is probably the best pure wide receiver. Gain of 8 on that play, so that'll bring up a 2nd down and 12. Bingham in motion, and Lomax tried to fake it to him, I believe, but lost the handle, and that's going to go for just a loss of 1.
It almost looked like an option run. He decided to keep it a little late, and the running back maybe thought he was giving it to him, and it ended up on the floor, but recovered by Lomax, bringing up a 3rd and long here for this first drive for the Marauders.
The Marauders won their first game of the season in a really tight ball game against Valhalla, but they find themselves on a 5-game losing streak, looking to right that ship. 9:15 in the first quarter. Lomax on a 3rd down. Under pressure, avoids a rush. A nice pass across the middle. That's a 1st down pickup. Tyler Reed on the reception. We do have penalty flags.
And Lomax doing a good job of buying himself some time. Spoke with one of the coaches on the St. Augustine side earlier today, and he mentioned that he felt one of the biggest weaknesses of this Marauders team this year has been their offensive and defensive lines. As you can see, they run that spread offense, and they've got a lot of athletes who can make plays like the few we've just seen. But if you can't protect the quarterback, you're going to have a tough time allowing Lomax to find those receivers.
You've got a 1st down pickup on that play, the connection from Lomax to Reed, number 5 to number 6. There was a pass interference on the play, but that was declined by the Marauders. So that goes for a gain of 22, we'll call it, to the 28-yard line. 1st down handoff, right side again to Bingham, Deuce Bingham, the senior running back for the Marauders, going for a good chunk to the 22. Early Friday night football here from San Diego County, South County, San Diego, here in Chula Vista, from one of the nicer facilities that you're going to find, Mater Dei Catholic High School. 2nd down 4. Lomax is going to keep the option. Running left side, he's got some room, a man to beat to the 10, the 5, end zone, touchdown Marauders.
And a big run there by Lomax, exactly what they needed. This Marauders team, they have so many different weapons, and if they can attack from Lomax being able to run the ball to him putting the ball in the air and he found 2 different receivers that time, and then Bingham, as you mentioned, with a couple big key runs to pick up those smaller chunks of yards. Man, they're going to be tough to stop tonight, and St. Augustine at this point, it really doesn't have an answer for this.
Miguel Renteria on for the extra point attempt. Mira Mesa now up 7-0 after that point after play, and a very impressive start for Mira Mesa. Just 4 minutes into the game, they find themselves up a touchdown, a good defensive stand, a 3-and-out, and then a touchdown drive of 48 yards. Capped off with a 22-yard Trey Lomax run.
And Andy, you mentioned Trey Lomax heading next year to San Diego State, staying in town. It'll be interesting to see. I know you thought that he might be playing some defense at San Diego State. We've seen some some great athleticism from him early in this game, and a guy like that, man, that's nice for him to stay local, and we'll get to watch him for another 4 years as we cheer on the Aztecs.
Yeah, you never know. Such an athlete, they could use him at some other positions on the offensive end as well. 8:01 in the first quarter, a quick drive by the Marauders after a fine defensive stand. They'll kick it off from the 40. Taken inside the 10 by St. Augustine, running into his own player. Dominique Morgan down the near sideline. He gets close to the 40.
And the senior Morgan here on senior night for St. Augustine making a big play there and giving their offense a great starting location just back from the 40-yard line on their own side. And St. Augustine now looking for a little more of a sustained drive here early in this game.
They'll go with a single back set, 2 tight ends. Will the Saints, handing it off right side on first down. Pushing forward, an easy pickup, lowering the shoulder, Elijah Preston, the freshman running back for the Saints.
And one of the big losses for this St. Augustine team, Tyler Herberger, the junior, number 24, has been their main running back, had just an outstanding start to the season in the first 3 games. He actually broke his leg 3 weeks ago, and now you've got a couple freshmen coming in to fill those shoes, and you can see right there, number 20, Elijah Preston, doing a great job of filling those shoes.
They'll go again to Preston, bouncing outside, but careened for a loss. Nice edge containment by Mira Mesa. It looked like it was Jarrell Young.
Jarrell Young doing a good job of not letting the freshman get outside, because with his speed, Elijah could just get outside and cut up the field, and you're just looking at the back of his jersey as he goes into the end zone, but doing a good job of keeping him inside and containing that run, as you mentioned.
Yeah, John, you said it. It was Herberger who was impressive early on in the season. 504 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns in just a few games played. Second down, 11. They'll go with another run, getting forward to the 46. Looked like it was Tristan Juarez on the carry.
And Tristan Juarez, another one who's been one of the star wide receivers for the Saints. Head coach Richard Sanchez asking him to step in and take some carries as we see him now go back to the wideout position at the top of your screen.
That brings up a third down and 7, we'll call it, needing to get to the 39. 3 wide receivers. Hudson under duress, and he is finally taken down back on the Saints side of the 50. So again, a very impressive rush by the Marauders.
Yeah, and this Marauders defensive line not letting Hudson get comfortable in there. As he's been hurried a few times, he's had to buy some time, and there he's sacked for a loss on a big third down, as St. Augustine was just trying to get into the territory of the Marauders.
So you'll have a punt here from the Saints, and they're going to fake it. It looks like it's Maloof. He has got the first down to the 30, inside the 20, all the way inside of the 10. What a gutsy call, and it pays off big for St. Augustine.
I don't know if anyone saw that one coming, especially the Marauders return squad. You saw a couple late guys coming in to fill out the 11 positions on the field, and St. Augustine picking up a huge run there. Biggest play of the game by far on either side, and it's the punter, Maloof.
Well, that gets them right back in the thick of things. Ball all the way down to the 9. And the offense goes back to work for St. Augustine. Preston in the backfield getting the first down handoff, gain of 2.
Preston with the carry. He was stopped by number 54.
Now the Marauders defense here, they've been able to stop this Saints offense, and here obviously the biggest, each of these next few plays are going to be the biggest of the game. They got to get some pressure to Hudson like they've been doing, and also be able to match up with the speed in the backfield.
Just a 1 wide receiver set for St. Augustine on second down. A fake, and then going the opposite direction. Getting into the end zone. Touchdown Saints.
And Francois Sims II, the freshman coming in 5'11", 215 pounds. 210 pounds, and he is just a monster out there. There's not many freshmen that have his size that can match up, and you see the strength there as he could have been taken out of the 5-yard line. He pummeled his way into the end zone.
Sims with the 7-yard touchdown makes it 7-6. Sinclair on his kick up and good, and we have a tied ball game at 7. St. Augustine and Mira Mesa with 4 minutes left in the first. On your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Today's game is brought to you by California Printing Consultants, your one-stop printing source for all of your printing needs. Call CPC toll-free at 866-484-4039 or visit their website at www.cpcfirst.net for your next printing project. Also, see CPC on the St. Augustine team page on PlayOnSports.com and click on the CPC icon. Online print buying has never been this easy.
Andy Bishop alongside John Henry Winter Nolte. An Eastern League matchup on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Of course, giving you coverage of games across the country week to week. Believe it or not, we are in week 7 of the high school football season. These teams with opposite records. Mira Mesa 1-5, St. Augustine 5-1, but we have a tied ball game right here. It's the kickoff, and it's going to land in the end zone, so that's going to go for a touchback. Mira Mesa ready to come back on offense. But things weren't looking good there for the Saints. They decide to go with the fake on the punt, and it turns into a 43-yard offensive gain.
Yeah, a huge, huge call by Coach Sanchez. You know, a real gutsy call early in the game, but if you're going to call it, that's the place to do it, right at the 50-yard line. You're either going to pin the Marauders back, hopefully inside the 15, the 20, or go for it, and worst case scenario, you give them the ball on their own territory still and asking your defense to make a stop. Paid off for Coach Sanchez, paid off for the Saints, and it got him a touchdown.
Mira Mesa ready to go once again, starting nearest the west end zone on a quick screen. This could go for a big gain. Finally tripped up around the 35. It was a nice bubble screen. Xavier Smith on that reception.
And we see another target that Lomax is zeroing in on Xavier Smith now with a huge pickup, and seeing all these Marauders being able to find some open space out there, and Lomax being able, his ability to put that ball in their hands in the open field. I mean, you make it one or two guys miss, and you pick up a huge 30-yard pickup there.
That was another nice gain for the Marauders. 3:38 left in the first quarter. Again, they go with the 4 wide receivers, and Lomax will keep it. A lot of options to defend when you look at this Mira Mesa offense, and a good gain on first down.
And with a lot of teams, especially at the high school level, if defenses can focus in on stopping one receiver, one running back, you know, maybe put a couple extra guys in the box to stop a running back or something, it'll work. But when you have a team like this where Lomax can run, but he can also put it up in the air to 2 or 3 different guys running down the field, man, this St. Augustine defense has their work cut out for them tonight.
Morrow in motion to the top of the screen. Lomax rolling right. He's going to step up, keep it, and lose a yard maybe.
Good coverage there by the Saints defensive backs. The secondary doing a good job. Looked like they had two wide receivers rolling out to the far side of the screen with quick slants at about 7 and 9 yards. Lomax just nowhere to go there.
Yeah, rolling to the right, and he's a lefty quarterback, so it would have been a tough throw. None of his targets were really open. 3rd down, 4 for the Marauders. Saints packing that box there. They're going to go with an inside handoff. That is going to be met at the line.
I was actually pretty surprised that the Saints put so many guys in the box. There were 3 wide receivers to the left and right of the quarterback, and Lomax it was a run play from the start, but the Saints defense doing a good job of not letting him go anywhere.
Closing in on the last couple of minutes in the first quarter, 1:45. And Mira Mesa set to punt. Dominique Morgan ready to return it for St. Augustine, standing at his own 30. A nice spiraling punt that's going to land all the way at the 18. Then Morgan will pick it up and takes a monstrous hit.
And both of the players are still down. Morgan slow to get up. And delivering the blow was number 18. I believe that was Brandon Payne. And he's slow to get up. He's actually still down. And it was one of those where it looked like, you know, 2 cars just kind of colliding against each other and bouncing off each other. Both of the players taking quite a licking there.
Yeah, well, that was a pretty scary collision. .121 left in the quarter. Payne is up. And we'll get started here in action. We'll take a quick timeout on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your friends to sign up, tell your school to sign up for the PlayOn Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all of their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to PlayOnSports.com.
Ready to go. First down for the Saints. Preston with some room, a really nice hole. Juking to the outside.
And for as much speed as he's got, he's doing a good job of running smart, you know, running behind his blockers, letting the play develop. And as a freshman, that's tough to teach because you're so excited to get in there. Like I said, as a freshman, you're 14 years old. You've got some wheels on you, faster than most of the guys on the field, but you got to be patient and know when to use those bursts of speed.
Now you've got Juarez back in the I formation, dotting that I. 2 wide receivers going with a counter run.
And the Marauders defense they're doing a good job of not allowing the Saints to get any big plays, but the Saints on the other side of the ball are doing a good job, their offense, of just picking up chunks of yards, and moving down the field so far.
Juarez picks up the first down to the 27. Preston getting another give for a couple more up to the 30. The Saints continuing to work the ground game.
Marauders defense here got to find a way to stop this Saints offense. Really haven't seen anything too special from them. No huge plays or anything, but maybe they're going to talk about it at this quarter break here.
Well, that was a fast first quarter. We're already done with that one. 7-7, St. Augustine and Mira Mesa in this Eastern League matchup on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information, as well as links to great highlights. Follow us at PlayOn Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
That's John Henry Winter Nolte. I'm Andy Bishop. Coming to you live from Mater Dei High School. Some Friday night football, week 7 of the high school action here. We finally got some cooler weather this week in San Diego after we were still in the summer session, it seemed, back in week 6.
Even into October. It was pretty exciting, I guess is one way to put it.
Got a little bit of rain around the county yesterday, and then a fairly cool day on a second down. Screen setup fails for St. Augustine.
And now this is the chance that the Marauders have kind of been looking for, a 3rd and long. Looks like about 7, maybe 8 for this Saints offense. And I'd like to bet one way or the other if they're going to put this ball in the air, keep it on the ground. But knowing JoJo Hudson and his abilities, I think he might be looking for number 7, his wideout, Tristan Juarez, on this play.
Juarez lining up on this left side with a couple of his fellow receivers, trips this way. And it is going to be Hudson rolling out. Throwing to his open receiver, caught. First down pickup, Tim Chapman.
And Hudson doing a great job. I'm sure he can thank his offensive line for the time he had. He had all the time in the world, just kind of picking out his most open receiver, who, like you said, was Tim Chapman, running a quick in and getting the first down. Big play for the Saints.
And now the Saints are going to go with a no huddle. First down at their own 47. They're going to run left side to Preston with a good burst. Breaks a tackle inside the 35.
Man, and Elijah Preston just running like it's the last game he's going to be playing in. He's only 175 pounds, and he was running through arm tackles there like nobody was even trying to tackle him. He broke 2 or 3 tackles to pick up an extra 15, 20 yards and putting the Saints in a great position here. First down early in this second quarter.
That will go for exactly a gain of 20. Ball to the 33 for the Saints, who again go with the quick lineup. And now Preston just runs into a wall. You could see that offensive line collapse a little bit for the Saints. And it was the big lineman for the Marauders, Brandon Rodriguez, who was first in on the tackle.
Rodriguez doing a good job of getting through that front line, as you said, kind of collapsed there on the offensive side for the Saints on the line. And that's something that cannot happen for the Saints if they want to continue to be successful in this game.
Not too tough to spot Rodriguez. He's a senior, 6'2", 315. That's an NFL-type body almost. As they go with the 3 down linemen on this second down. Preston did pick up a yard on that play. This time it's Juarez in the backfield, but they'll go on a quick hitch to Tim Chapman once again. Had a little bit of room, got inside the 30.
And Chapman, I'll go back to that big last play that they had on the 3rd down, the Saints, where they picked up 20 yards. Chapman caught the ball right at about the first down marker and was able to pick up an extra 13, 14 yards because he knew where he was on the field and he knew what his surroundings looked like. I mean, he took 1 step to the left, turned to the right, and he was off. He had plenty of space in front of him. Sometimes it just takes one man to miss to open up that run for the big play.
A big 3rd down for the Saints offense from the 29. They go with the offset I. And they're going to run it. Juarez is going to get a good chunk, but he's going to be short by about 2 yards.
Marauders defense doing a good job staying home there. Saints ran to the short side here with Juarez, and it's going to bring up a 4th down. Looks like they're going to go for it here.
Interesting call, about 2.5 yards to go. We're already 3 minutes into the second quarter here at 7:05 tonight, and most of the other games around the county and around the West Coast are just now starting. So we've already got a fast-paced game. 4th down and a long 2. Hudson trying to get Mira Mesa to jump, but they will run the play. Preston pressing forward, got hit at the line of scrimmage, but might have picked up the first down.
He might have even been hit behind the line of scrimmage. There were 2 guys draped on him, and he picks up the first, just keeping those feet moving. We already mentioned it, 175 pounds, but, man, he is just all muscle out there.
That was an impressive run just to pick up a couple, but it was huge. Oh, well, we might have a measurement.
It's very close out here. From our angle, it looks like they have it, but I think that's a good call by the officials. It looks like they're going to bring out the chains.
The ball marked on the left hash. It looks like the tip of it is right at the 28, but you're going to see those chains move.
First down Saints. I guess they don't need to look at it.
So I'm not 100% sure if it was an official timeout or a Mira Mesa call. But whatever the case, it appears it's going to for sure be St. Augustine first down.
Coach Gary Blevins might have just wanted a little bit of an explanation, maybe give his guys a little bit of confidence. You know, that's a tough one. They barely gave up 10 yards on 4 downs. And the Marauders, you know, they had that play snuffed out, Andy, and they just gotta pull down the running back in that situation. But man, just couldn't quite execute.
A 7-7 ball game from Mater Dei High School. You've got another really interesting Eastern League matchup tonight. Lincoln taking on Cathedral Catholic, both 1-0 in league. Cathedral beating this Lincoln beating this Mira Mesa team 28-21. They've got a really good athletic team. Of course, the Robinson brothers are the really known players for that Lincoln team. Cathedral, again, ranked top 10. What a surprise there. They'll get ready for the Holy Bowl next week against this St. Augustine team. We're ready to go here. First down from the 28 for St. Augustine. Running it on first down to Juarez, getting to the 20.
And you mentioned it, the Holy Bowl next week for Saints and Cathedral. You know that every one of the players out there is thinking that, but Coach Sanchez doing a good job of preparing this team for this week. And I'm sure Cathedral, you know, they're not looking past this week's game either to next week. Focus one day at a time, one day of practice, and one game at a time.
Well, a fun night here for both teams, but definitely for St. Augustine with a big crowd, senior night, and looking to take the scoring advantage. Trips up to the right. It's going to be a quarterback keeper for Hudson on that second down. He'll move forward for a few more. You've got a little bit of an issue with the time on the clock. Right now it says 32 seconds, but we should be around 8 minutes or so in the second quarter. So once they get that corrected, we'll give you an updated time that we have remaining in the second quarter. Again, a really quick moving ball game so far. Another third down for the Saints. No wide receivers on a third down and 3. Running it to Francois Sims. And I think this time Mira Mesa stopped them short on that third down.
And there's no question about whether they were running or throwing that ball. Hudson putting up a good fake and then passing it off to Sims, who was met very strongly by a couple Marauders at the line of scrimmage, and that's going to bring up a 4th and maybe 1.5. Is that about right?
Yeah, I think so. Ball right at the 15. The marker appears to be at about the 13.5 for the first down. So you'll see another 4th down attempt by St. Augustine. Another big line up there. They hand it off and tripped up in the backfield. Trey Lomax, the defender, the defensive back, gets in there and trips up the running back at the ankles.
And I think Lomax was tired of playing defense. He said, all right, I'm going to go play some offense now, playing both sides of the ball. A lot of high schoolers, athletes, pretty impressive being able to do that for all 4 quarters. And there we see why maybe San Diego State is picking him up to play defense for them next year. But Mira Mesa doing a great job of stalling that Saints drive. Saints maybe a little overconfident, being able to pick up that the first down on the previous 4th down, and before that with a little bit of trickery on the fake punt on the 4th down. So 2 for 3 now for the Saints. Still not bad odds on 4th downs tonight.
You're going to see Addison Morrow in motion, but Mira Mesa tries the run, but doesn't get much at all. Still waiting to iron out that clock issue.
And I'm a little bit surprised on the side of the Saints that they went for that. Their kicker, Nick Sinclair, we've seen him in just about every game being able to put up some pretty deep field goals. He seems pretty consistent, doing a good job this year. But Saints, going for that 4th down, wanting the touchdown on that last play.
Lomax getting it out to his running back, a nice catch on a throw that was a little high. Deuce Bingham catching it, but you've got a flag near the Mira Mesa offensive line area.
And it was thrown a little late to be holding, but it was thrown in that holding kind of area in the backfield, and I think you called it right there. Looks like it's going to march the Marauders back a few yards.
You do also have the chance of an ineligible man downfield. I think that's what the call is going to be.
Right.
As you had kind of a little bit of a screen almost, and probably you had one of the linemen getting downfield a little bit too far. Well, now we've got 12 minutes on the clock. Some clock issues here. We should be around this, 6 or 7 minute mark.
Something like that.
In the second quarter.
But again, as you mentioned, Andy, this game really flying by. I mean, there hasn't been many stoppages, a few big plays. Both teams running the ball a lot, and both defenses doing a pretty good job here as it's all knotted up at 7 still.
I think we've got the clock issue figured out. Clock now down to 5:03.
That seems about right.
In the second quarter. 2nd down for Mira Mesa. Lomax back to pass, under pressure. He's taken down inside the 5. He fumbles it. We'll wait to see who ended with the ball. And you have got a St. Augustine possession.
And you see Joe Maloof coming off the edge, the linebacker. Nobody picking him up from the blind side of the quarterback. Lomax didn't see him coming. Laid a pretty solid hit on Lomax, and Maloof knocking the ball loose. And remember, he's the one who picked up that 1st down on the fake punt. So Maloof doing it on both sides of the ball tonight. And St. Augustine now all of a sudden knocking at the door at the 5-yard line.
4:48 left in the half. 7-7 ball game is knotted up. St. Augustine looking to punch it in. 1st down handoff left side. Juarez to the goal line. Is he in there? Oh, he's going to be just shy. I thought he might have gotten in there.
And Juarez, not the first St. Augustine running back to be hit at the line of scrimmage and still be able to pick up 4 or 5 yards. And that's one thing that the Marauders really have to work on is not allowing the Saints to push them backwards when they're on defense.
2nd down and a foot. They're going to keep it with JoJo Hudson. Waiting for an official call. Yes, it's a touchdown, Saints. 13-7.
And I like that call there by Coach Sanchez, just saying, hey, put all your guys in the box, 11 on 11. Let's see who can push. That might have been a half a yard there. And the St. Augustine offensive line and JoJo Hudson being able to punch it in for the Saints. as they line up for the extra point here. Nick Sinclair for the kick.
Booming kick by Sinclair. Up and good. 14-7, Saints with the advantage. 4:12 remaining in the half on PlayOnSports.com.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from all across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here.
Andy Bishop alongside John Henry Winter Nolte, our producer Chris Cashman, our videographer doing some fine work tonight, Daryl Mazon. Got a whole crew here from Modern Day High School, newly built just a couple years ago.
And Andy, we've broadcasted from some pretty interesting places in our time, but this is nice. This brand new press box right at the 50-yard line. We got plenty of seats and room. This is great job, Modern Day Catholic, putting on a great facility here.
Yeah, beautiful setup. Sinclair sending it deep, and Addison Morrow taking it at the 2. He's up the left side, finding a seam, finally tripped up just past the 25. They'll mark it at about the 27. Morrow with a little bit of steam there. We got tripped up.
Now, if you're the Marauders, you've got to get something going here. They've been able to pick apart the Saints' defense in their drive where they scored. The last one cut short, obviously, by the fumble. But you know you've got the talent, you've got the personnel to be able to beat this St. Augustine defense. But the question is, can you execute, especially late here in the half? Got just over 4 minutes left, and the Marauders need to drive down and punch it in to tie this thing up.
St. Augustine again packing that box. And Lomax mishandles the snap. He's going to be flushed out, finding time and coming up just short of his intended target, Xavier Smith.
And Lomax doing such a good job of avoiding the sack there for the St. Augustine defense. Number 55, Quinn Sao, in hot pursuit, and Lomax able to get around, get away from him, and throw it downfield just a little short of his wide receiver target.
Things haven't quite clicked as smoothly as they did in that opening drive for Mira Mesa, as they really just shoved it down the throat of St. Augustine. Under 4 minutes now, 3:58. Back in motion, Lomax collided with him. And again, you have a nice stop by the Saints.
And two St. Augustine defenders, Joe Maloof and Derek Vieira, getting in on the action. Credit Maloof with another sack. And this Mira Mesa offensive line, as we mentioned earlier, little outmatched, it seems like, here in the last few plays, as the Saints are doing a great job getting some pressure on Lomax.
A loss of 3 on second down, so it's a 3rd down, 13. Lomax stepping into the pocket, hit hard as he attempted that one. It looked like it was maybe Robert DeCourt on the pressure.
And DeCourt, who we've seen all year play both sides of the ball, tight end, and then coming in playing defensive end for the Saints. DeCourt, credit him with the sack. And again, Andy, just the Marauders not able to keep those St. Augustine defenders out of the backfield.
Robert DeCourt, the 6'4" senior, charging hard. A high snap. It is indeed blocked by St. Augustine. It does get up to the Saints 42 now.
Now this is interesting here, as we'll let it play out.
You're going to see a ball picked up by Mira Mesa after the tipped punt.
Now it looks like they're going to call roughing the kicker and a personal foul against Saints. As you mentioned, it looked like the ball was tipped by a St. Augustine rusher. And the referees are going to talk about it a little bit here, straighten it out.
Mira Mesa advancing it. No whistle was blown. To my understanding, the ball should be dead at that point.
looks like they're going to mark it off here.
But in any case, you're going to have an automatic first down from that personal foul penalty.
Right.
The 15-yard penalty variety. Now ball up to the 39. So a costly mistake, although the rushers were going in for it and did get a piece of it. So tough call there for the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints had 3 or 4 rushers in the backfield right on top of the punter. And maybe it was just that the punter hurried it, didn't really have time to take his normal cadence and just kind of muff that punt, not being able to get a hold of it.
Clock now moving, 2:35 left in the first half. Lomax has it. He's going to throw it across the seam. Addison Morrow running a post route, but couldn't come up with it.
And he had a step on the defensive back, Dominic Morgan, but Morgan doing a good job of sticking right on the heels of Morrow and breaking that pass up. Now the Marauders here, I'd like to mention that this is a huge opportunity for them. I mean, they all of a sudden go from their backs in their own end zone almost with that big penalty in favor of them. Now they've got a little bit of a drive here, and they've got plenty of time to tie this thing up.
Lomax faking the handoff, then getting it out to his receiver who catches it and fumbles it. And that's going to be another big loss. Brandon True caught it. We'll see if they call possession. Oh, we're going to have a timeout on St. Augustine. I was thinking they might call that incomplete, but they're going to say that True did indeed have possession and then fumbled it upon being hit.
I believe that was number 6 for the Saints defense, Ryan Harris, on knocking that ball clear. The referees, did we decide that they called that incomplete? Is that what that was?
I think it's going to be a fumble because you're going to see the ball marked all the way back at the 30.
Okay.
They started the play at the 39. So a 9-yard loss. Another big play by the Saints defense. 14-7 remaining here in the second half. Or excuse me, in the first half, second quarter, rather.
This game's flying by, but not quite that quickly.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be bringing you the Saints again next week on PlayOnSports.com. Really the premier matchup in the San Diego section as it is throughout the years. They take on Cathedral Catholic, who is ranked top 5 in San Diego. The Saints ranked number 7 in the county according to the Union Tribune rankings, the local newspaper here. They're ranked number 9 on Max Prep, so a couple of different opinions there. But overall, they're definitely a top 10 team. 3rd down and 19 for Lomax and the Marauders. Lomax is going to heave it. He's got an open receiver, but underthrows it. It is almost intercepted, eventually knocked down by Frank Buncombe, the 4th.
And Lomax heaved that one about 50 yards as he's a little slow to get up, and the wide receiver on that play just outrunning Lomax's arm, even though he did chuck it 50 yards.
It was a really tough throw for Lomax. If he could have gotten another 2 yards on it, it would have been a huge play.
And Buncombe doing a great job of sliding over and making I thought he was going to intercept that for a second, but wide receiver came back and knocked it free.
A solid punt taken, though, by Morgan at the 34. Getting through the special teams of Mira Mesa now, breaking it to the near side. He could go to the 10. He is in. Touchdown, Saints.
Wow, what a run back by Dominic Morgan. Following his blockers all the way up the field. And Andy, you sounded a little surprised that he was taking that, and so was I. I mean, I thought he called fair catch because there were so many Marauders right around him. I think that might have been the issue there, as the Marauders over-pursued a little and he only had a couple guys to beat, and then it was off to the races to the end zone.
Dominic Morgan, a 66-yard punt return for touchdown. Sinclair putting it through. 21-7 Saints adding to the lead on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Today's game is brought to you by California Printing Consultants, your one-stop printing source for all of your printing needs. Call CPC toll-free at 866-484-4039 or visit their website at www.cpcfirst.net for your next printing project. Also, see CPC on the St. Augustine team page on PlayOnSports.com and click on the CPC icon. Online print buying has never been this easy.
Andy Bishop alongside John Henry Winter Nolte. First half action from Modern Day High School Eastern League matchup. St. Augustine, Mira Mesa. St. Augustine with 21 unanswered right now, and it's really been a few different plays that you normally might not see. A lot of big plays on defense and special teams for the Saints.
Yeah, that big fake punt early in the game where the Marauders were doing a good job. They stalled the Saints offense on the first drive. The second drive, it looked like they had them stalled, and they had 4th and 12. St. Augustine fakes the punt and picks up the big pickup of about 25, 30 yards, and it's been all St. Augustine since that point.
Saints ready to kick it away. Another solid kick from Sinclair. That'll be taken in the end zone for a touchback. Man, both teams have a lot of speed, but the Saints really showing it off on that last run. Dominic Morgan playing on both offense and defense for this team, and then their returner just split that seam through the Mira Mesa special teams unit and then took off down the near side. That was impressive.
Yeah, we've seen him do that a couple times in his career the last couple years. I mean, when he gets out into that open field, he makes a couple guys miss. He's tough to catch up to, and even on that one, the Marauders caught up to him, but it was too late, too late, right at the goal line. Just an impressive run by the senior Dominic Morgan.
After a less than impressive first 4 minutes, the Saints have shown after that why they are one of the best teams here in the San Diego County, a Division IV school, as their enrollment has gone down a little bit since last year. Lomax for Mira Mesa throwing it again. It's going to be intercepted by none other than Dominic Morgan, making another play now on defense.
And you gotta credit Morgan with the great coverage, and then going up, he climbed the ladder to reach that ball and bring it down. Xavier Smith on the reception, on the attempted reception, and Lomax putting the ball in a good spot, but Morgan just making up those last couple steps and getting up in the air and making the interception.
21-7 St. Augustine. They've still got a $129 to work with. Ball on the 36.
And St. Augustine the last few minutes have really poured it on this Marauders offense and defense and special teams. Just doing a good job of closing out this half. And they might even put another one in here.
All three phases working for the Saints tonight as they lead 21-7 inside a minute 30 in the first half on PlayOnSports.com.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the Play On Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all of their games and other activities on the web. For more information, go to PlayOnSports.com.
Eastern League play featured here on PlayOnSports.com. These teams with opposite records, 5-1 for St. Augustine, 1-5 for Mira Mesa. St. Augustine, a really good shot at this point, although we're still a few weeks before the playoffs. They're the top-ranked Southern California team at the Division III level. They'd be a Division III team when it comes to the State Bowl championship. So To be ranked at that point is pretty impressive. And if they win out the season, they would surely get to the California State Bowl, but still plenty of games to go before they can start thinking of that. Their mind still on this game as JoJo Hudson goes with the play action, setting up a screen to Preston. Caught well behind the line of scrimmage, and that will go for a loss back to the 42.
And the Marauders doing a good job. We've seen glimpses of their offense as well as their defense making some huge plays, and it's just been the little miscues, and maybe I don't want to say that they're taking plays off because obviously they're not, but they're not 100% focused on each play, and the St. Augustine Saints are doing a great job of exploiting the weaknesses in this offense and defense for the Marauders.
That screenplay went for a loss of 7. Hudson trying to make it up. He avoids a rusher, going to get close to the first down as he trots out of bounds. Smart play to stop the time.
Great job by Hudson evading what would have been a near sack in the backfield, which really would have set up a tough situation, third and about 20, 25 for the Saints, but instead using his legs and picking up a big chunk of yardage. Instead, it's 3rd and 1.
That play stops the clock at 33 seconds. Saints still with 2 timeouts in their hands, so they can still use the middle of the field. 3rd down and 1 from the left hash. They run it to Preston. He's got the first down, now switching fields slightly with the cutback. Gets it inside the 20.
So tough to stop Preston on that run, even though he's a freshman, even though he's 175 pounds, just cutting up the field and picking up the first.
Yeah, and at the same time, you can't really say enough about the Saints' offensive line.
Right.
We've seen a few plays where Preston has been hit near the line of scrimmage, but for the most part, he's had at least a couple of yards before he even has to make a move or try to avoid a defender. So definitely a big credit out to the St. Augustine offensive line.
Yeah, they're doing a great job of picking up the blitzes. They're picking up their man assignments and making the hole for the running backs, whether it's this freshman, that freshman, Juarez, anyone. You know, at that point, when you got a hole as big as they've been giving these St. Augustine running backs, it's just tough to stop.
26 seconds now left in the first half. St. Augustine still with a timeout left coming out of the sideline huddle. Ball's at the 18-yard line. And they come out with 3 wide receivers. Preston the back.
At some point, they got to go for this touchdown. I mean, they're knocking on the door.
Chapman to the near side. Juarez and Harris to the right. Hudson scrambling inside the 15. Again, the clock will roll. And you might just see St. Augustine let the clock roll down to a couple of seconds, take a timeout, and kick a field goal. But you're going to have it stopped with 8 seconds left.
Hudson was looking for Tim Chapman there in the corner on the hitch and go, doing a good job on the coverage, the Marauders' defense. PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information as well as links to great highlights. Follow us on PlayOn Sports at both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
Andy Bishop alongside John Henry Winter Nolte. Another great game on PlayOnSports.com. Like he was saying, great opportunity to see more of our action and learn more about the company on our social media sites, as that's becoming the big thing around technology. 2nd down. They're going to throw it to the end zone. Up high, Ryan Harris hauls it in for the score.
Ryan Harris What a play. And JoJo Hudson, that was a timing route where he just put that ball up right about 5 yards deep in the end zone. And Harris looking up, he was looking for the ball when he turned, not looking for the pass. I mean, he knew the ball was coming, turned around, found it, and a great job by the Saints striking with only 4 seconds left here in the second quarter before we go to halftime.
Sinclair with another impressive kick. And that makes it a 3-touchdown lead. The Saints have poured it on in this second quarter, 28-7 on PlayOnSports.com.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from all across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here.
Well, you knew St. Augustine had to throw it to the end zone on that one. They didn't have any timeouts to work with. And Harris just squeaking his way behind the defender. Very, like you said, very nice timing route.
Yep. Hudson putting it right on the mark. And St. Augustine now 28 unanswered points. Just flipped a switch, it seemed like.
Yeah.
Middle of that first quarter, both offense and defense.
And this could very easily be the last play of the half. Good chance you'll see a squib kick from Sinclair. And it's going to bound its way down, picked up inside the 10. Addison Morrow taking it, and he's going to be hit at the 30. That will end it. A very impressive half by the Saints. They're up 28-7. Be sure and stay tuned. We'll bring you a halftime show here in a few minutes. But again, 28-7 Saints from Chula Vista, California, on your home for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. Welcome back to the halftime show here on PlayOnSports.com. Andy Bishop, John Henry Winter Nolte, 28-7 St. Augustine. Well, let's recap the scoring quickly here. It was Mira Mesa who jumped out to an early lead on the 22-yard touchdown run. Then the Saints struck back. Francois Sims the second, 7-yard TD run. So at the end of the first, it was 7-all. And then the Saints scored 21 more in the second quarter. JoJo Hudson, a 1-yard TD run. And then to go up 21-7, it was Dominique Morgan with a 66-yard punt return. And then finally, with just a couple seconds left there, JoJo Hudson hit Ryan Harris in the near corner to make it a 28-7 ball game. So I turned to my analyst here, and I asked you, you know, what was kind of the turning point there in the first quarter, as it just seemed at, you know, some point that St. Augustine just really turned it on.
Yeah, we could almost go play by play, but instead I think we'll do drive by drive. Early, St. Augustine was stalled, and after Mira Mesa had come down and scored so quickly and easily, almost effortlessly, St. Augustine elects to go for a punt on 4th down at about 12, and they decide to fake punt it, get a big 20-yard pickup, and from that point on, they didn't look back. They didn't say, oh, we need to, you know, get better. Da, da, da. They just have been rolling ever since. 28 points unanswered, 3 late touchdowns in that last quarter on big turnovers forced by the Saints defense, doing a good job of rallying to the ball, getting 11 guys to the ball wherever it is on the field, and putting a lot of pressure on quarterback Trey Lomax, who really has been pretty quiet since that first drive.
Well, yeah, if you're looking over there on the other side and your coach Gary Blevins, you probably are looking at a team with pretty low spirits at halftime. What do you tell that bunch over there?
I mean, this team is a team that played very well last year. I don't know too much about them, but I know their record is 1-5, and the first drive that they had compared to what's happened since then, it's like they're not able to rebound from that. And with the talent that they have, the speed and the athleticism, they should be able to put more points up on the board. They put more points up on the board against other teams, but just here with the Saints defense, it's almost like the Saints have figured it out. Coach Blevins has just got to reinstill that confidence in their team that they're good enough to win this game. It's just, can they execute, and do they want it enough to win?
Yeah, in that first half, you could really see, at least in that half, the difference in discipline to some degree, as just in all phases of the game, the Saints were really spot on. And then things got just a little bit sloppy for Mira Mesa, especially on the offensive end as they turned the ball over a little bit. Well, we'll be back here with the second half here shortly. Just a few seconds left on the halftime clock. A couple of disappointing ends to seasons for both these teams last year. Mira Mesa was 5-5-1 on the season. They played a really tough schedule, though. So they went into the Division I playoffs as a 5 seed, but actually lost in the first round to Grossmont in a big upset. So that was kind of a bummer for them. And then on the other side, St. Augustine, who's always been, or for the most part, been in the Division III level, suffered one of the most outrageous surprises of the season as they got defeated by Mar Vista. Everybody was kind of expecting St. Augustine Cathedral in the D3 championship, but that was quite the surprise as well.
Lessons to be learned from both seasons last year. You can see Saints not taking any teams lightly this year, not looking ahead to next week to the Holy Bowl, but focusing on tonight, focusing on the Marauders, and taking it to them really in this first half.
Well, the Saints definitely putting a tough schedule in front of themselves for this season, and definitely responding after losing last season to go out of the playoffs early. They're 5-1, but just as impressive as that record is the strength of schedule. They've played Carlsbad, Steel Canyon, and Mater Dei all on the road to start the season, winning those games before losing a really close game to Otay Ranch. Then they knocked off one of the top teams in the county in Eastlake by 2 touchdowns, and won pretty easily against San Diego last week. and they're looking pretty dang impressive tonight as you see the opening kickoff of the half sail to the end zone.
Nick Sinclair on another kick into the end zone, doing a good job. We've seen him on the extra points put that ball not just through the uprights, but almost off the track, about 40 yards deep past the uprights. Look for him maybe to come out, and if the Saints do stall on a drive or two, we might see him with a 35, 40-yard attempt if this Marauders defense can figure out how to stop the Saints offense.
Yeah, Nick Sinclair, a nice weapon to have. He hasn't been as needed tonight, but down the road he could really pay off for them. Lomax handing it to Sinclair, to Deuce Bingham on that first down run. And that was you saw the speed of Bingham there, finally with a little bit of room to run, getting to the 28.
Yeah, and I think that's what Mira Mesa's got to start doing is get away from the pass a little bit and spread the ball out, get the ball into the hands of some guys who can make some plays and spread it around. Don't just go to the one guy. Don't just have Lomax throw it every time or run it every time, because the Saints have spotted on that and they've been able to stop it.
A quick pickup of 8 and another negative play for Mira Mesa.
And it looked like the Saints just brought 2 or 3 linebackers on a blitz and called. They said, all right, you're going to run it up the middle, aren't you? Well, we're going to put 5, 6 guys in the box, and just outnumbered and outmatched for a big loss there, and bringing up 3rd and 5 for the first drive for the Marauders. Saints trying to make a statement here early in the second half.
Yeah, you saw both safeties step up there and crowd the line for St. Augustine. 10:39 remaining in the third. A key third down for Mira Mesa. Offense trying to get something going. Lomax rolling left, throwing it on an outside route. A nice catch by Addison Morrow as the ball was thrown slightly behind him.
And Addison Morrow got to get more touches on the ball like that when we saw him on the first drive where Mira Mesa ended up scoring. And now we see him here picking up a big third down. That Lomax to Morrow combination, got to see more of it if they want to be successful in this second half.
36-yard line, first and 10.
Lomax close to being hit as he was throwing it, but he did get it away. Another handoff to Bingham. No, it's going to be Lomax keeping it on that option.
Lomax with the ball.
And I like this play calling here by Coach Blevins, mixing it up some, a pass, a run, a keeper, a quarterback keeper, and keeping Saints on their heels a little bit, or might I say just guessing a little more in this second half than they did the first half, where it seemed like they just blew up every play that Mira Mesa threw at them.
A 5-yard run by Lomax. Ball up to the 42. Mira Mesa slowly marching the ball near midfield. Lomax trying to get the handle to Bingham, who could not get a handle on it, then hit hard as he rolls out of bounds. And again, you see a mishandling between Lomax and his runner.
And the Marauders need to tighten up on the offensive execution. That's the 3rd or 4th fumbled ball that they've had just on the handoff. I mean, it's not like the Saints are putting any pressure on the handoff. Lomax has handed the ball to Bingham and every other guy on this team dozens, if not hundreds of times in practice, in games, and that can't happen. I mean, that's just something that's a simple, unforced error, and a team like Saints will capitalize on that.
So you're going to have a 3rd down and 3. They actually gained a yard on that one. Jordan Risdom is now the back, replacing Bingham. And Lomax throws it on a quick hitch to Addison Morrow, who does a good job of avoiding defenders, but then finally gets gang tackled for a loss.
And Saints doing a good job sticking with their assignments there, not going for the fake, the quick throw to the far side on the flats, and just nothing they can do. St. Augustine defense coming up big again.
So another 4th down punt. Mira Mesa with the ball at the 38. The ever-dangerous Dominique Morgan already with a touchdown return, standing at his own 35. A wobbling kick that hits at the 35 and stays around there. Mira Mesa downs it at the 36. Still a 3-touchdown score. St. Augustine up as their offense makes their way onto the field.
That was a great kick there by the kicker, keeping it kind of away from Morgan, which is exactly what they want to do. As soon as he touches the ball, I mean, it's either an interception, a touchdown. He's been all over the field tonight, making some great plays. And at some point, Mira Mesa's got to figure out, let's just get the ball away from him. Don't let him touch it.
A 4-minute Mira Mesa drive, but it yields nothing. JoJo Hudson handing it off to Preston.
Preston there doing a good job of making something out of really nothing. I mean, he was met, there was a defender before he even hit the line of scrimmage, and he was able to pick up 2 or 3 yards after he passed that defender.
You got to be really impressed with this young freshman Preston. Only 5'5", 175, but you can only imagine if he puts on even a little bit more bulk. He's already a tough runner, but going down the next couple of years here, he could easily be one of San Diego's best.
He's going to be fun to watch, that's for sure.
Play action. Hudson flushed out of the pocket, left side.
Woo! Did you see that? Did you see that hit there?
I did not see the hit. I just saw or heard the crowd explode in excitement as well as yourself there,
sorry,
John.
That was an exclamation on my part, but just replay for you. Elijah Preston, look for that one on the highlight reel. He was the intended target for Hudson, but he was covered so well, Hudson decided to keep the ball and run it, and Elijah just laying his shoulder down, putting a great block on a marauder, and right in front of that Saints bench. They were loving it, right in front of the bench and the fans here on this near side.
Hudson made a good little gain out of it, getting out of bounds, 3rd down and 3. And they go with the stretch run. Preston bouncing it outside, and even with not a whole lot of room, I think he's going to get another 1st down. Just has the nose for that 1st down line.
Yeah, and I know we've said it so many times, but it's so impressive to watch a freshman like him run. I mean, again, should have been loss of a yard or stopped right at the line of scrimmage, but instead he picks up 2 yards and, more importantly, the 1st down.
Tough run of 3 yards for Preston, who is spelled Tristan Juarez in the backfield now. And Hudson will give it to the young man, number 7, scoots forward. And if you're St. Augustine, you got to be pretty comfortable with what you're doing right now. Wouldn't mind seeing that clock continue to roll, especially if you're picking up 1st downs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they keep the ball on the ground. Hudson's doing a good job of controlling the game, keeping his guys calm. The offensive line, who we've mentioned a couple times, doing a fantastic job of giving whoever the running back is just enough room to work with to get a few yards each time. And as this clock continues to wind down, we're already under 6 minutes here in the 3rd quarter, and it's just flying by.
An I formation from the right hash. Hudson play fakes across the middle, caught at the 40. The young tight end, Patrick Dixon, one of the leading receivers. His 1st reception comes up big.
And we see those big tight ends for St. Augustine. They've been pretty quiet tonight, as they really haven't needed to be used. But Patrick Dixon, as well as Robert DeCourt, who we always mention so many times in most games on the offensive side of the ball. Dixon with the 1st catch tonight with a 1st down. And, of course, as soon as we say they're probably going to run it, they go to the air.
So a pickup all the way to the 30 for Dixon, the leading receiver for the Saints, with 18 receptions and 3 touchdowns on the season. Preston, nifty moves once again, and then he breaks a tackle, and he's going to get all the way to the end zone. My goodness. Elijah Preston. Wow.
And the freshman just coming up big. It looks like there's a flag on the field, and we were waiting for the call from the officials. Looks like the St. Augustine offense is walking back to the line of scrimmage. But man, take nothing away from that freshman out there who just ran for 30 yards while he should have gotten maybe 2 or 3 there.
Well, the 20-yard TD run by Preston will be wiped off the board. But they will actually gain yardage on it because the penalty was, the infraction was downfield, I guess you could say.
There was a block in the back, I think they called, as we heard from the official PA announcer here. And now the referees are getting together, explain to Coach Sanchez what's going on. We will relay that info to you as soon as we figure it out.
Man, that run, the combination of speed and power from such a small individual.
And he hit the hole so hard. I'd love to see a replay of that, kind of break it down, but he hit the hole full speed, stopped on a dime, and cut straight to the left. Made 2 or 3 guys miss. All of a sudden, he's in the backfield. A couple of the wide receivers doing a good job of sticking with their blocks, and he had nowhere to go but in the end zone.
5:02, third quarter play.
I think that penalty is going to remain a little bit of a mystery, no explanation.
It appeared that the ref had wiped it off, but we're still playing here. Same score. Preston is going to just make defenders miss, and then he's going to scoot all the way out to the outside, and he gets in Elijah Preston, touchdown.
I mean, seriously, this kid is unstoppable out there. You can ask the Marauders, and I'm sure they'll tell you the same thing, but the referees call that one back, his first touchdown, so he decides, Coach Sanchez, I love the call, by the way, give it right back to him. And Elijah Preston punching it in from about 15 yards out for another touchdown for the St. Augustine Saints.
Line drive this time by Sinclair, still good. 35-7 with 4:53 in the third quarter. This game's a rout here on PlayOnSports.com.
PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football action, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from all across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here. Today's game is being brought to you by California Printing Consultants, your one-stop printing source for all of your printing needs. Call CPC toll-free at 866-484-4039 or visit their website at www.cpcfirst.net for your next printing project. Also, see CPC on the St. Augustine team page on PlayOnSports.com and click on the CPC logo. Online print buying has never been this easy.
The St. Augustine Saints up 35-7 in their all purple and white home jerseys. They're technically the home team here at Mater Dei High School. Mira Mesa, the road team, at more of a neutral site, but you do have a much bigger St. Augustine crowd, as is usually the case with such a big football program they have year to year.
And credit another great kick to Nick Sinclair, who's been so solid this evening. I think he kicked that one out of the end zone, actually. No chance for a return. Obviously, if that ball traverses past the end zone line, then it is non-returnable here in high school, and it comes out to the 20. Such a tough place to start for the Marauders every time. You know, they've got to go 80 yards. It sometimes can just be a little overbearing. Never catch a break with a kicker like Sinclair.
Well, we'll see what the Marauders can do if they can get anything going late here in the game. A low snap to Lomax. Under pressure, batted down and intercepted. Almost returned for a touchdown, Derek Vieira. the Saint with the interception takes it down inside the 5.
Unbelievable. This Saints defense is just forcing turnovers left and right. Robert DeCourt using his 6'4" frame to get a paw on that ball, doing exactly what he's supposed to do, just pop it up. And then Vieira coming down with it. I thought he was going to get to the end zone there, but I don't think he's too used to having that ball in his hands. He wanted to make sure to hold on to it, as he should.
Yeah, clipped down at the legs. Vieira is going to stay in there as the fullback. And you're going to have Francois Sims as the tailback.
Is he going to get the call here? Is Vieira going to get the call and credit himself for the touchdown?
No, he'll be the lead blocker with a wide hole. Francois Sims lowers the shoulder and steps into the end zone for the 6th St. Augustine touchdown tonight.
I think it took them all of 8 seconds to put 2 touchdowns on the board. And this St. Augustine offense and defense, I mean, unstoppable. When you've got a team that can put points up on the board, and then on the other side of the ball, just not allow the team to really do anything, you're going to be tough to stop.
Mishandled snap on the point after try. Jack Halfbauer, the backup quarterback, and also the holder, incomplete on that pass.
And Hofbauer actually almost making something happen there. I'm sure they've practiced that before. You know, if the snap is botched or the holder can't quite get it down, what do you do now? And there was a few routes run. Good coverage, though, by the Marauders. And nothing doing on the 2-point conversion try inadvertently by the Saints.
Well, we've got games all across the country tonight on PlayOn Sports. This one here from San Diego, this is the domination station. St. Augustine up 5 touchdown scores with over 16 minutes left in the game. 4:39 in the 3rd quarter. 2 touchdown scores already in the 3rd quarter for the Saints. Just really dominating in all facets of the game.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, defense, offense, special teams. They've been able to find the edge in each of those in this matchup and really been able to exploit them.
Sinclair with another high, deep kick, taken at about the 1-foot line by Mira Mesa. Up to the 25 goes the return. I mentioned it before, St. Augustine dropping down to Division IV this season. So they'll be playing Cathedral Catholic next week, but they will not be meeting them in the playoffs. A few really good Division IV teams here in San Diego over the last few years. Madison and Valley Center have kind of been the class of D4 the last few years. So the Saints could very easily make a statement at that level this season. 4:31 in the 3rd. With the man in motion, Lomax looking to pass under pressure as he's been all night. Taken down for another St. Augustine sack.
And the Saints, we've seen it all night. We've said it a few times. Just overmatching the offensive line for Mira Mesa. And typically when you see these Mira Mesa offensive and defensive lines, they're well over 6.5 feet, and they breed them big up there in Mira Mesa. So this year it's a little bit of a different situation where they don't quite have the size that they typically do, and it's a position that's really been hurting them in this game especially.
They keep it on the ground, going out of the shotgun formation as they have on every play. The spread has just not worked quite well enough tonight for Mira Mesa.
And the tackle there, first man into the action, Ryan Herberger, linebacker for St. Augustine defense.
So it'll be a 3rd down and 11 for the Marauders. Another low snap, and Lomax is trying to find time. He's going to throw it, but it's going to go too far to the intended receiver, Addison Morrow. Lomax down on the field after the play. And finally gets up after laying down for a few seconds. But when Lomax has passed tonight, he's been under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, he's being asked to do quite a bit, not only throw that ball perfectly to a moving receiver who's running as fast as he can, but great defense by the Saints, great pressure by the defensive line, and he just can't quite do it all, it seems like.
The punt lands at midfield, and that's where it'll be down on that gigantic Mater Dei logo that stretches 20 yards long. 2:44 still in the 3rd quarter. A fairly cool San Diego evening here in Chula Vista. As I mentioned, things have cooled down a little bit here. Last week I did a game in South County. It was probably about 10 to 15 degrees warmer, but still not too cold compared to most of the country.
I know here in San Diego we get a little upset if it's above 78,
yeah.
and really excited if it gets cold, below 60, I think. A little spoiled out here, but
yeah.
I think that's why we're all out here.
Yeah, and I looked at the weather for the next week, and we're set to be back up in the 80s, low 80s, high 70s, so.
Mid-October, so.
Yeah.
And the referees are discussing a little bit about what happened on that punt, explaining to Coach Sanchez. And it's going to be a personal foul on the Marauders, it sounds like. Maybe not. I thought I heard the official scorer say that.
Well, the ball will be dead set at midfield.
On that logo, that's for sure.
Yeah. Hudson still in there, handing it off to Preston, who still has the burst late in the game. An easy pickup to the 41, so just shy of the 1st down.
And as big as a game as Preston has had tonight, he's such a tough weapon to stop on this Saints offense. I mean, we mentioned Tyler Herberger, who the junior for this Saints offense. He was the starting running back. Broken leg a couple weeks ago. Always a tough situation. But Preston being able to step up and fill those shoes, and man, I mean, he's going to be such an asset to them going down to the rest of the season and into the playoffs.
Early whistles before the snap. A false start on St. Augustine. St. Augustine, as is the case with Mira Mesa, they both have 3 games remaining. St. Augustine, as we talked about already, they play Cathedral Catholic next week. Then they'll play Scripps Ranch, who's 0-6, probably the worst team in the Eastern League. And then they finish off with a game at Lincoln, which could be a tough final test on the road.
And I think out of those 3 games, that's going to be great preparation for the Saints going into the playoffs. I mean, we've mentioned a few times tonight, not looking too far forward. If you're the players, focus on this week and on this game. But man, they've got such a tough schedule all year, and that prepares a team so well mentally and physically for the postseason.
Winding down the seconds of the 3rd quarter. 1:10 now on the scoreboard.
We got a little bit of fireworks there on the far side.
Little fireworks in the background here.
I think you can see them on the video there, about the 20-yard line. That's kind of exciting. I'm sure the players like that, but they probably actually don't even notice it. They're focused.
I'm sure they're still well ingrained in the game. 3rd down rollout by Hudson, throwing it across the field. Pat Dixon gets forward to the original line of scrimmage. And we'll see the St. Augustine punt unit for just the second time tonight, I believe. The first time they used it on the offensive and went for that 43-yard run that set up their first scoring play.
Joe Maloof back to punt. I couldn't imagine him running another one here. Really not necessary for the Saints. Get a good kick, try to pin the Marauders back inside their own 20 and work on this coverage team. Looks like we might be getting a timeout here.
Mira Mesa going to call a timeout. Interesting call there with just 2 seconds left in the third quarter. But we've got a big blowout here from Mater Dei High School. 41-7, St. Augustine up big on PlayOnSports.com.
PlayOn Sports is on Facebook and Twitter, giving you news and information and links to great highlights. Follow us at PlayOn Sports on both Facebook and Twitter. You can also access thousands of live and on-demand games on YouTube at youtube.com/PlayOnNetwork. Keep up with all the high school action every week from your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com. PlayOnSports.com is not only your destination for Friday night football, but it's also the place for the most comprehensive coverage of high school playoff and championship events in all sports from all across the country. PlayOnSports.com. High school sports lives here.
That's John Henry Winter Nolte. I'm Andy Bishop, coming to you from Chula Vista Mater Dei Catholic High School. The bright lights are shining 41-7 St. Augustine for the final play of the third quarter now. It's DeAndre Johnson standing back deep for Mira Mesa. An end-over-end kick by Maloof that will bound down inside the 25. And that's the end of the third quarter. We'll switch sides and keep it here as the Marauders try to make this thing look a little bit more respectable. 28-7 game at halftime. 2 touchdowns in that third quarter. And they came really back-to-back, as a couple other scores have for the Saints in this game. An 18-yard run by Preston. After a 20-yard TD run had been called back, they went right back to him after that callback. And then an interception by the Saints, and subsequently a 3-yard run by the other freshman, Francois Sims. Sims has had 2 touchdowns. Preston, I believe, has just had that 1 touchdown, but has done plenty of other running. So all sorts of big plays for the Saints tonight. And we really haven't talked about it a lot. You really got to like the play of quarterback JoJo Hudson. He's kind of hasn't been the biggest figure tonight, but he's very mobile out there. He's made a few really accurate, timely throws, and you got to like the way he's playing moving down.
Yeah, and as much as Saints has run the ball this evening, it's almost tough for a quarterback to as a coach, you say, okay, you're going to throw this time. He's like, well, I just handed the ball off like 6 times in a row. And it's just the muscle memory. You get guys like Peyton Manning, they're throwing almost every time on big drives down the field, and you see him get into a rhythm. So without that rhythm, it's tough for a quarterback to come out and just make not random throws, but throws with a lot of time in between them. And he's been able to do a good job of stepping up when he's called upon.
The opposing quarterback, Trey Lomax, complete on that throw to Tyler Reed. Another screen play. We've seen plenty of those from both sides.
Reed's going to get subbed out there. Looks like he's got a little bit of a limp.
Risdom is the back. And the quarterback is hit. I've been making a mistake that this was a Lomax out there, but it's actually the relief quarterback.
Looks like, is that Jordan Ridenour, number 15?
Yeah, that's who I'm guessing it is. I thought I saw number 16, which we don't have on our roster, but could be Ridenour. He might be 16 there. So Lomax has been taken out of the game. He's been hit hard tonight, so no surprise there.
Yeah, I think that's important for a coach to be able to recognize that and say, hey, thanks for your effort tonight, but take a break now. You don't want to see anyone get hurt because they're just kind of drained, and you're going to need him for the rest of this season.
Ridenour, a nice throw out there to open Bingham. That picks up the first down to the 48. 11 minutes exactly on the clock. Good chance for a young quarterback, a sophomore, to get a little game time experience here against a really good team.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I mean, you're seeing on the Saints offensive side of the ball, 2 freshmen who've been putting up big numbers tonight. Not on a situation where they're just trying to get some looks to the young guys, but man, they're asking them to start the game and be the go-to running back, guys like Preston, and he's really done a great job. And it's so important for the future of each team to kind of have those younger guys be able to work with the older guys. And I think a great example of that is the St. Augustine kicking team. You look for the past 4 or 5 years, and they've got one guy at San Diego State right now who was near perfect in his 4 years here at Saints, and now you've got Nick Sinclair filling those big shoes. We've seen him tonight put the ball in the end zone almost every kickoff, and every extra point has been right through the uprights, and room for more too. So the way that Saints can kind of do that with the kicker, they've obviously been able to do it with the quarterback, wide receiver, every position. It seems like they've got someone in the pipeline for next year.
Yeah, just an added weapon at their disposal. Ridenour throwing it on that far side to Xavier Smith. Yeah, you talked about the kicker at San Diego State, Seamus McMorrow, I believe, who hit one of the longest, if not the longest, in San Diego history, a 58-yarder, if I'm not mistaken.
Right, yep.
Either, I think it was 2 years ago or maybe last year, but yeah, that kid had a leg for sure. And then Sinclair has a pretty impressive one as well.
Right, and it's so funny because I'm not going to say that a lot of guys can hit field goals from 58 yards, but when the game's on the line and when the pressure's on and when the coach calls a timeout before to try to ice you, that's the big leagues right there. And I mean, you make one kick like that, and that could be your way to college. And he did such a good job, Seamus McMorrow, last few years, being so consistent and in big time plays. They kind of earned a spot with San Diego State this year.
A nice throw and catch from Mira Mesa to pick up another first down. Things getting moving a little bit for them on offense. Clock now under 10 minutes, 41-7 still. Saints, all Saints tonight, as is the case in many of their games. Although a majority of them have been close because they've played such tough teams. The one blowout they have had this year was last week, 45-zip against San Diego, the Cavers down there.
And you see this drive here for the Marauders. They're being very successful, moving the ball around from the left of the field, right of the field, quick screens, hitches, not going for the end zone each play, but instead being able to get a sustained drive going, get some momentum, and a real positive from a game that there wasn't a whole lot to look or to take from this, as positives. This drive right here, they're doing a great job as they pick up another first down here. I think it was, I'm not sure.
Very close to a first down. It looks like they're going to be a yard short. Marker at the 32, just a yard shy there. Well, Mira Mesa is going to try to turn things around next week as they play Morse, who's a non-division, or non-league opponent, rather, in the San Diego City League. Handoff barely completed from Rittenauer. That forward progress might have netted a first down, but they still look to be about a foot short of that 32-yard line.
You've got to think they're going for it here.
8:30 and ticking down in the fourth quarter. A 41-7 rout so far from St. Augustine. 41 points unanswered after Mira Mesa put up the first points. A quarterback keeper. The sneak will move forward for the first down by Rittenauer.
Now, Andy, in speaking with one of the coaches, Coach Schwett, for the Saints, who's been with the team for quite a few years, so he knows that this Mira Mesa team is nothing to take lightly. And kind of to add to that, earlier these two teams played in passing league, which is basically a 7-on-7 kind of flag football-ish type of tournament setting where there's no linemen. And this Mira Mesa team came out and was able to kind of pick the Saints apart as their quarterback, Troy Lomax, was able to go from one receiver to the other, and they actually beat them pretty handily in the passing league. But then when you put them in this situation, you add linemen and a little more physicality, I think it's a different story, and you're seeing that tonight.
Yeah, you have seen the lines dominant by both the offensive and defensive line by St. Augustine. While we were having conversation, a nice play by Rittenauer throwing it to Xavier Smith, who went up high right by a defender, all covered by the defender, but came down with the reception inside the 10. So you're going to have a first down and goal for Mira Mesa with 7:15 left. Trying to put another score on the board. Rittenauer faking it and rolling right, and tried to get the ball away as he was taken down. It'll go for an incomplete pass.
He did well getting that ball away, or else it would have been a big sack.
You see that play that Mira Mesa likes to run, and it really hasn't, worked out for them, where the left-handed quarterback rolls right and really kind of puts them into an awkward situation, especially when they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I think the idea is that they're trying to buy a little more space for that quarterback to make a play, but it's tough with this Saints defense, and it looks like we're going to have a false start on the offensive side of the ball. The Marauders are going to march back 10 yards, and they're going to be going the wrong way, that's for sure.
Ball now marked at the 14. Jordan Rittenauer under pressure. Joe Maloof with the slam down.
And Maloof, seems like he came in untouched there on the blitz from the outside. Rittenauer was not, he was surprised to see him, but he was not happy, and there was just nowhere to go. Gobbled up by Maloof, who's had quite a game tonight. That big fake punt where they picked up a huge gain. And he's also had, just guessing, maybe 3 or 4 sacks by himself tonight. Really doing a great job of hurrying up the quarterback.
That moves the ball back all the way to the 25, and it's goal to go. So Rittenauer throws a pass and a nice adjustment, stretching back. I think Addison Morrow is still out there.
And we've seen him a few times adjusting to the ball. Whenever that ball's thrown in his direction, if he can touch it, he'll catch it. We haven't seen him drop any. He's making defenders miss. He's finding his open space inside of the secondary, and he's quite the athlete to watch. I remember him from last year, and he's just as dominant this year.
Down inside the halfway point of the fourth quarter. We're at 5:25. And Rittenauer gets a low snap, trying to go to Morrow. We got turned around a little bit on the throw behind him.
Good defense by Dominic Morgan, who's another guy who's had a stellar game. Just so tough out there on all sides of the ball. Not just offense, not just defense, but special teams returning. And he's a guy that's going to be missed next year as we're celebrating, the Saints at least are celebrating senior night here at Mater Dei.
Ball on the 13. Mira Mesa is going to go for it. Nothing to lose. And you're going to have a timeout by Mira Mesa. 5:18 on the clock. 41-7 St. Augustine here on PlayOn Sports.
Do you want to watch more of your school's great matchups like the game you're enjoying here tonight? Tell your school to sign up for the PlayOn Sports School Broadcast Program. The program allows schools to broadcast all of their games as well as other activities on the web. For more information, visit playonsports.com.
Andy Bishop alongside John Henry Winter Nolte. Got a nice crew here tonight alongside us. Chris Cashman doing all the production work. Daryl Mazon on the camera. From a nice setting at Mater Dei High School. Mater Dei themselves having a pretty good season in their league, one of the Metro leagues.
And the game actually started a half an hour early tonight than what we were expecting. And the city conference down here, they start all their games at 7:30 for whatever reason, but they do, and that's why our game was pushed up to 6:30, bringing you all the action here on playonsports.com. Always a fun time out here, Friday night football.
Mira Mesa on 4th down, incomplete pass. Ridenour was looking for his tight end. He was looking for Dante Nolan, the big tight end out there, number 14, who hadn't come down with the pass yet tonight, although he's a big target. So that'll be a turnover on downs. And now it's just a matter of formality here for St. Augustine, just needing to eat up the remaining 5:05 on the clock.
And coming in at quarterback for the Saints, Thomas Goodridge, the sophomore who earned and won Player of the Game rights a couple weeks ago in a big win versus a San Diego powerhouse, Eastlake, highly ranked team. He came in and led this St. Augustine offense to a big win just a few short weeks ago, and he's in there again getting a few more snaps. So another one that the Saints, this is a backup quarterback who led the team to win against the powerhouse Eastlake just a couple weeks ago. I mean, most teams he'd be starting and be a star on. The St. Augustine team just so deep.
Hudson, the starter, junior, so you'd imagine he'll go for another year, but then you do have a Goodridge just a year behind who knows, maybe he'll compete for the job next season, but in the meantime, you got to be impressed by Hudson out there.
Right.
Another handoff on that 2nd down play. Looks like you've got Francois Sims in there at running back. Getting some of those garbage yards to finish things off. 3rd down and 3 with 3:38 in the game. They'll go with Sims again, left side. He's got the 1st down. Using that big body to carry the pile. He's a little bit bigger back than you have there with Preston. As a freshman, Sims is 5'11", 210.
As a freshman, I'll say that again.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big kid out there, and he runs like it. We've seen him with a couple touchdowns tonight, punching it in across into the end zone, and not doing it lightly. I mean, he's running guys over left and right out there, just lowering his shoulder and making them remember his number. That's for sure.
Down to 3 minutes. And this time it's going to be a new back getting the carry. It's like Marty Raskin, number 41.
Just a sophomore coming in getting some snaps.
Well, you're going to have one of the earliest finishes of a ball game that we've had in a while here in San Diego, I would imagine. Coming up on the 2-minute mark, just 8:40.
Just over 2 hours into this game.
Yeah, Pacific time. Again, Raskin with the carry. Again, a big game for St. Augustine. They will be the home team next week against Cathedral Catholic. I'm guessing that game will be at Mesa College.
Yeah, and this field is pretty atypical of where St. Augustine usually plays for their home games. As you mentioned, Andy, Mesa College, their home field, as their school is actually pretty small, tucked into the neighborhood in North Park. Not quite room for all their fans. And then if they don't play there, they'll typically play at San Diego High School, who I'm guessing has a game there tonight, and that's why we're down in Chula Vista here for the home game for the St. Augustine Saints.
1:23 on the clock. This game all but over.
Got a couple new guys in there. Younger Matt McGarry, number 2, wide receiver, junior, checking in, as well as Bradley Hamill, number 11, another junior wide receiver. Look for these guys maybe next year.
A first down. Rascon for St. Augustine carries it. Might have lost a yard. Want to make sure and remind you to stay tuned for our post-game show where we'll wrap up the action here. And we've got a plethora of Saints to choose from for our player of the game. So we'll come to that decision and try to get an interview with him. Preston was pretty impressive. Dominique Morgan, a couple big plays on defense and special teams. Maloof was all over the place. So.
And JoJo Hudson kind of captaining the whole ordeal here. So it'll be a tough one. I mean, this is one of those games where you only give up 7 points, so you almost want to pick a defensive player who's standing out tonight. But we'll consult with our professionals here and see who we feel is the star of tonight's game. Definitely going to be wearing purple, though, as they're going to get the victory tonight.
The scoreboard shows zeros, and St. Augustine moves to 6-1 on the season with a statement game, 41-7. Big win over Mira Mesa, their Eastern League opponent. Like I said previously, stay tuned for our post-game show here on PlayOnSports.com. We'll catch an interview with one of those very talented Saints. So stay tuned here on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the Play On School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Andy Bishop alongside our player of the game here on PlayOn Sports, Dominic Morgan, defensive back for the St. Augustine Saints. He's our player of the game. What a game out there. I mean, you guys really dominated all facets of the game, but they went up early. Mira Mesa did 7-0. What did it take for you guys to turn on the defensive light switch?
You know, we started off a little slow, but I mean, like, it just took our captains, you know, to take some leadership, and we had to get our sideline back in the game. You know, we had to get the run ball, pass ball calls. You know, and we just came out there with fire and intensity, and we got the job done on defense.
Now, you really had a play that seemed to be one of the turning points in the game. It really opened things up. A 66-yard punt return. What did you see on that play that allowed you to take it to the house?
I mean, I seen a quick hole, you know, and I just wanted to hit it, and I wanted to get a quick burst through it, and I just followed my blocks, and, you know, I seen the opening, and I just took off, you know.
And then 2 plays later, you had an interception on the defensive side. How did that feel, and what did you see on that play?
You know, I was kind of tired. I'm not gonna lie, but I knew they were gonna. I knew they were gonna try to go after me. You know, that's how the teams try to game plan on me. I play a lot on the ball, so I mean, you know, I just had to suck it up. You know, I know Addison Morrow, he's a good receiver. They're gonna throw it to him, so I was just keying on him, and just like my coaches taught me, you know, just play on him. Got the interception, got it done.
Well, Dominic, I know you guys want to relish this victory, but everybody knows the matchup that's coming next week, Cathedral Catholic, the Holy Bowl.
Yes, sir.
What is it going to take to defeat that kind of team, and is there really any stopping of this dominant St. Augustine team?
I mean, you know, anything's possible right now, and all we need to do is just play as a family, play as a team. We can get anything done, you know, play defense hard, play offense. You know, just keep on scoring, keep on driving the ball, and we got this game in the bag. I believe so.
Dominic Morgan, our player of the game. Any final words, my friend?
Well, shout out to my girl, Kimberly Fernacca. I want to ask you to homecoming. Will you go to homecoming with me, please? Thank you.
Well, we'll see how she answers that. I hope it's a yes. Dominic Morgan, our player of the game, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck the rest of the season.
Thank you.
We can get a player up here.
Oh, that's good stuff.
All right, perfect. Prepare a Wiley Ballard graphic.
Do you want me to start the stream?
Start the stream. Camera 3. Beautiful. We're coming in on 1. For more information on how your school can join the PlayOn School broadcast program, go to playonsports.com/SBP.
Welcome back to the rest of our post-game show here on PlayOnSports.com. Andy Bishop now joined by my analyst, John Henry Winter-Nolte. It was looking like it might be a close game there for a little bit in that first quarter, and then St. Augustine just blew it away, ended up winning 41-7. What was the thing that you were most impressed by that Saints team tonight?
I mean, a lot of teams come in early and you go down by 7, and you can let it really affect you. But the St. Augustine team, you know, relentless. They've come from behind before. They've been in the toughest of situations. They've had their backup to the backup in there, coming back and winning games. And they wouldn't have any of it tonight. As soon as they kicked that, or they didn't kick that punt and went for the first down, you just felt the whole game like change around, and it was all Saints from that point forward. Literally 41-0 unanswered points.
Now, we talked about all night how they were impressive in all facets of the game. Which one do you like the best? Defense, offense, special teams?
I like their O-line, first of all, because Hudson was back there and he could pass if he wanted to. He could hand it off to any one of his 3 or 4 running backs who we saw tonight, and they had a hole the size of, you know, if you're a running back, you want to see a hole, and they were happy every time to touch that ball because they knew their offensive line was doing a great job. And then, of course, the defense. I mean, shutting down a team like this, it's not like this team is is a bunch of freshmen and sophomores who've never played football before. They've got some seniors in there who are going to play the college level Division I here in San Diego and across the country. I mean, this is a really good team, and they literally were shut out for most of that game.
Now, I want you to talk about their running back, Elijah Preston, who really impressed us tonight. Just a freshman, kind of a shorter guy at 5'5", but has all sorts of speed and power.
Yeah.
Describe his performance tonight.
We saw him just unbelievable. As soon as he got hit by the first person, you knew he was going to pick up at least 5 yards more. And that the one play that impressed me most with Preston was when that touchdown that he scored after a 20-yard run, which was one of the most amazing runs I've ever seen, just with his speed and power and juking ability, his agility. That gets called back. He could have easily gone, shoot, I should have a touchdown. Instead, Coach Sanchez calls his name again, he gets the ball, and he basically does the same run just from about 18 yards out instead of 25. Just such an impressive kid to watch out there, a freshman,
Very impressive, as was the entire performance for St. Augustine tonight. Again, 41-7, all over Mira Mesa. St. Augustine moves to 6-1. They face Cathedral next week. We'll be showing you that game here on PlayOn Sports, and we're all looking forward to that. Mira Mesa dropping to 1-6. For Andy Bishop, my partner, John Henry Winter Nolte, our producer, Chris Cashman, our videographer, Daryl Mazon. Thanks for joining us here on Friday Night Football on your destination for high school sports, PlayOnSports.com.
One match away from immortality.
This is a total team effort.